Before we dive into this powerful story of betrayal, secrets, and a courtroom twist you won't believe, I have one quick request. If you enjoy emotional, suspense-filled stories, please take a second to subscribe, like, and share this video. It helps the channel grow, and now let's begin. The courtroom smelled faintly of paper, old wood, and stale air. The ceiling fan spun lazily, doing little to fight the heavy summer heat. Sweat slid down my back beneath the collar of my suit, but I didn't move. Not an inch. Across the aisle, Amanda, my wife, sat with her lawyer. She wore a simple black dress, her hair pinned neatly, her expression one of practiced sorrow. She looked down, nodded softly at each word her lawyer spoke, as though each syllable was truth carved in stone. "Your Honor," her lawyer began, smooth as oil, "my client's husband is unfit to raise their child. He is unreliable, irresponsible, and has a history of disappearing without explanation." He paused, letting the words hang in the air like smoke. "He has missed birthdays, school recitals, family events. Even," he lowered his tone for impact, "his own mother-in-law's funeral. This is not the behavior of a devoted father. This is the pattern of abandonment." A few people in the courtroom shifted uncomfortably. The judge raised his brow but said nothing. Amanda exhaled, quiet and timed, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She looked the part of the wronged wife, fragile but dignified. Her lawyer leaned forward, his voice sharp. "My client deserves full custody. She has been present, stable, and committed. He has not. The child deserves better." The words struck like daggers, but I stayed still, silent, waiting. The judge leaned forward, adjusting his glasses. He was about to respond when a sudden movement caught the room's attention. The bailiff hurried down the aisle, his voice low but urgent. "Your Honor," he said, bowing slightly, "there's a man here from the State Department. He says it's urgent." The entire courtroom seemed to inhale at once. Amanda's lawyer froze mid-turn, his expression flickering with unease. The judge frowned. "State Department? In a custody hearing?" Before anyone could answer, the heavy wooden doors creaked open. A man stepped inside. His stride was steady, unhurried. His suit was flawless, black pressed to perfection. A polished badge gleamed against his chest. His eyes were cold, unreadable, the kind that could silence a room without a word. He didn't look at Amanda or her lawyer or even the judge at first. His gaze swept the room like a blade, then settled on me, Your Honor, he said, his voice sharp, calm, dangerous. "The accusations against Mr. Carter are not what they appear to be." The judge stiffened. "And who are you exactly?" The man stepped closer, sliding a sealed folder onto the judge's desk. "His disappearances," he said, his tone like glass cracking, "are a matter of national security." Amanda's face drained of color. It hadn't always been this way. Amanda and I once laughed together in kitchens, argued over movie choices, planned futures in whispers when our son was asleep. But those memories were shadows now. Fragile things slipping away. The distance crept in slowly. At first it was late nights. She'd say she had work to finish, errands to run. Her phone was always face down on the table, the screen lighting up and going dark before I could catch a glimpse. Then came the silence. She stopped asking about my day, stopped waiting up for me. Our conversations shrank to the bare minimum. What Ethan needed for school, when bills were due, what groceries to buy. The warmth was gone, replaced by something colder. The first real crack came through our son. Ethan was drawing at the kitchen table one afternoon when I came home early. He proudly held up his picture, his small fingers smudged with crayon. 3 people stood together, a boy, a woman, and a tall man I didn't recognize. "Where's Dad?" I asked, forcing a smile. Ethan shrugged. "Mom said you're always gone." The words stung deeper than any insult, sharper than any accusation. She had been erasing me little by little, even in his eyes. Another night, trying to break the tension, I asked her lightly, "Hey, what's Ethan's favorite color these days?" She didn't hesitate. "Blue." But Ethan's favorite color had always been red. Always. She didn't even know. Or worse, she didn't care. Then there was the smell. Cologne, sharp and unfamiliar, lingering in the hallway when I came home. Not mine, never mine. One night I walked in earlier than she expected. The house wasn't empty. It was alive with sound. Laughter floated from the kitchen, low and intimate. Her voice. A man's voice. Together, I stood frozen in the doorway, listening. Not storming in, not screaming. Just listening, letting each word slice deeper. I didn't confront her, not yet. Because what I felt wasn't rage. It was something colder, sharper. It was strategy. Once you stop reacting, you start seeing. That was the lesson. I began watching Amanda the way I used to watch suspects in foreign streets. Careful, patient, unnoticed. She thought I was distracted, too tired to notice. But I noticed everything. The first clue came from the mail. A bank statement I wasn't meant to see, tucked inside a magazine. The balance didn't match our accounts. A hidden credit card. A transfer to a name I didn't recognize. That night I searched while she showered. Quietly, methodically. In the back of her desk drawer, behind old birthday cards, I found a second checkbook. Withdrawals, deposits, always small enough to avoid suspicion. But over months they added up, thousands. And the name, Michael. She had told me once she didn't know anyone by that name. I smiled bitterly as I copied the numbers into a notebook. I didn't confront her. Confrontation gives the enemy control. I needed certainty, not suspicion, so I followed her. Just once, she thought she was careful, choosing a weekday afternoon when I was at work, but I knew I watched from across the street as she walked into a private school with Ethan. Her voice carried through the open office. Doctor, when she greeted the administrator. Yes, I'm a single mother, she said lightly, almost proudly. I want my son to have the best opportunities. His father isn't reliable. My jaw clenched, but I didn't enter, didn't expose myself. I simply pressed record on my phone, capturing every word. Later, alone in the silence of my car, I played it back. Her voice was sweet, careful, convincing, lies wrapped in honey. Every move she made was designed to erase me. Not because she loved Ethan more, but because she wanted control. She thought my absences had made me weak, easy to replace. She forgot who I was when I left, and who I became when I returned, so I built my own case. Not against her infidelity, because the courtroom doesn't punish heartbreak. I built it around motive, deception, intent. By the time I was finished, I had a folder thick with evidence, numbers, transfers, recordings. I wasn't planning revenge. I was preparing for war. Amanda thought I was just a mechanic, a man who fixed engines and scraped his knuckles on bolts. That was the mask I let her believe. It made the long nights and sudden absences easier to explain, but the truth was heavier. My disappearances weren't weakness, they were duty. While she told our son I'd abandoned him, I was sitting in safe houses across oceans, listening to coded transmissions. While she whispered to another man, I was walking through crowded markets in countries that would jail me if they knew who I was. There were birthdays I missed, not because I forgot, but because I was standing in a warehouse, translating documents that would save lives. There were anniversaries I skipped, not because I didn't care, but because I was miles underground in a command center, waiting for an extraction that might never come. Amanda thought my silence was neglect. But silence was survival. Every time I left, I carried two things with me, the weight of my oath and the memory of my son's face. Both kept me alive when bullets were close and allies were few. I'd come home with stories I couldn't tell, with bruises I couldn't explain, with secrets I had sworn to bury, even from the woman who was supposed to be closest to me. The agency warned me years ago. This kind of life erodes marriages. Secrecy becomes a wall, and love cannot always survive behind it. I thought Amanda was strong enough. I thought wrong. When I saw her betrayal, the affair, the lies to our son, I realized she didn't just stop loving me. She had started rewriting me out of existence. So I made a choice. I resigned. One last mission. Not for the agency, not for the flag, but for Ethan. When the custody hearing came, I wasn't just a man defending himself against her accusations. I was a father willing to sacrifice the last thing I had left, my career, my secrets, my cover, so that my son would know the truth. Amanda wanted to erase me, but I was about to show her and the judge that I was never really gone. The folder sat on the judge's desk like it carried the weight of 1,000 secrets. The State Department man didn't sit, didn't flinch. He simply waited, his expression carved from stone. The judge broke the silence first. "Mr. Carter," he said slowly, his eyes narrowing, "are you aware of what's in this file?" I nodded once. "Yes, Your Honor." Amanda's lawyer shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "Your Honor, I must object. This is a custody hearing, not—" "Sit down," the judge cut him off sharply. His gaze returned to the folder, fingers hesitating before he opened it. Inside lay documents stamped and sealed, pages unclassified for this moment alone, dates, locations, operations, proof. The judge read silently, his face tightening with every line. The courtroom was so quiet, I could hear Amanda's shallow breaths. Her lawyer leaned toward her, whispering urgently. She shook her head, eyes wide, hands trembling against the polished wood of the table. Finally, the judge looked up. "Mrs. Carter, were you aware of your husband's role in these operations?" Her lips parted. "Nothing came out," she tried again. No, he never told me." Her voice cracked on the last word. The State Department man's eyes never left her, cold, unforgiving. The judge exhaled heavily, setting the file down. "Your accusations against your husband appear incomplete at best, misleading at worst." His voice hardened. "This court will not punish a man for serving his country." Amanda's face collapsed, her carefully built performance unraveling in real time. The fragility, the false sorrow, it all fell apart. Her lawyer tried again. "But, Your Honor," the judge silenced him with a glare. "Enough. This hearing is about the best interest of the child. And from what I've read, Mr. Carter's absences were not abandonment. They were sacrifice." I stayed silent. No gloating, no smile, just stillness. Across from me, Amanda's hands shook so violently she had to press them against her lap. She dared a glance at me. For the first time, I didn't see defiance or victory in her eyes. I saw fear, the kind of fear that comes when the truth finally rips away the lies. The gavel struck once, the hearing adjourned. The courtroom emptied in hushed murmurs, footsteps echoing against marble floors. I didn't move quickly. I gathered my papers with deliberate calm, while Amanda sat frozen, her lawyer whispering frantically at her side. She didn't answer him. Her eyes stayed locked on me. When I finally walked out into the brisk afternoon air, she followed. Her heels clicked against the stone steps, fast, uneven, desperate. "Daniel!" she called, her voice thinner than I'd ever heard it. I stopped, turned slightly. She stood a few feet away, her hair loose now, her face pale. The mask was gone. "You humiliated me in there," she spat, but her voice shook, breaking. I met her eyes, steady. "No, you did that yourself." Her throat worked as she swallowed hard. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you trust me?" I almost laughed, but the sound never came. "You didn't ask. You didn't want the truth. You wanted control." Her face twisted, grief and fury tangled together. "You lied to me." "No," I said quietly. "I kept secrets for the country. You kept secrets for yourself." She stepped closer, eyes glossy. "You'll never forgive me." I looked past her then, toward the car parked at the curb, where Ethan waited in the back seat. His small hand pressed against the window, watching. I turned back to her. "I'm not interested in forgiveness." And I walked away. Ethan's eyes lit up when I opened the car door. He leaned forward from the back seat, clutching the edge of his backpack. "Dad," he whispered, like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to hope, "are you staying this time?" I looked at him, his small face so much like mine, yet softer, untouched by betrayal or secrets. I nodded. "Yes, for good." His shoulders relaxed, a smile breaking across his face. I reached back, squeezed his hand, and in that moment the weight of years lifted. For the first time, I wasn't leaving. I was home. And that's how truth silenced every lie. Amanda lost more than custody. She lost the power to erase me. But, "Tell me, What would you do if your partner tried to rewrite your life, piece by piece? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.